did like Memphis Wrestling this week, folks, and that was in spite of their guest star. Now, their guest star is Just Incredible. Now, we know Just Incredible, I remember him at the time in ECW, and I don't think he was ever thought of as someone who was a breakout star. You wouldn't mention him in the same breath as RVD or Sabu or even the Sandman in ECW. And I'm more seasoned now, and he's more seasoned now, and I don't look like I did when I was in my 20s, and neither does he. And we know that he's had some health struggles in the past, so I was thinking, is it really wise for you to come out and say, I want to take Memphis more hardcore, so I'm inviting Psycho Simon as I'll call him, to come out, he's called in Memphis Wrestling, who's the champion, the Heritage Champion, for a match, a no-holds-barred match for the title. But he does. Actually, it's all right. It's a slow match. They're neither of them the quickest of fighters, and it's a very deliberate match, and it's a safe match. Although you do get Just Incredible fish-hooking Simon with the Singapore cane, hitting him with a water bottle. I think it was plastic rather than glass that he brings to the ring. Someone hands him a tennis racket, shades of James E. Cornette there, and he smacks Simon with it. Simon then chokes him with the Singapore cane, and the only real move of this match is a drop toe hold from Just Incredible onto the chair that's been set up. He does take an elbow drop from Simon, but it looks like he wants to do something else. He looks back at Credible and thinks, I think he's done, and pins him. I think that's the way it went. I'm not sure. It could have been just a miscommunication, but it was a bit odd. It was a little bit, well, he used to be in ECW. He doesn't look like he did in ECW, but I am not going to denigrate anybody's opportunity for making money from the good work they've done in the past. And it was good in the past, and ECW was great. And I remember I was a tape trader at the time, so I was around when it was around, and he looks very different. But you know what? Actually, I was worried about the match. I didn't think there would be a match, and they managed to do it okay. Plus, they also set up Mike Anthony with his open challenge, and it's the main event, and you will be delighted with the person who steps up, because I certainly wasn't. It was a great, great match. I also think that Bradley tried to smooth in on Mama Money, and by taking her on their first date to McDonald's is extraordinary. But he just talks about CJ Money needs a male role model. He doesn't talk about how much he likes her. He talks about he needs a male role model, or a male role model, either way. I'd like to see one of them. I don't know what one is. Then we've got Cobra with the big mains, I think, saying, I might have zoned out, because they're very angry at the way the title was taken from them. Actually, I was a bit confused as well, to be honest. But I think he says, just leave. But they don't know. Because later on, you'll get the clique out with the belts, and you'll get the big names out, and they fight. They fight. And then, it's a lovely moment, actually. While the tag champs bail, the big names beat up unnamed security detail. And there's lots of, world's strongest slam called the Bam Bam Slam from Big John Dalton on different security people. The tag team champs and the rest of the clique hightail it into a limousine, and there's a close-up of Jimmy Blaylock, who looks absolutely terrified. It's really good work. That's the kind of work that makes these vignettes work, and it did. Raven Black versus KJ Rocket is okay. Seven Cruz gets involved. He's involved from the beginning by ripping up a fan's sign, and although Rocket attacks Raven early on with a basement crossbody, and Seven Cruz attacks her too, she gets a spine buster. She smacked Cruz with their own clipboard, but then she doesn't see that KJ Rocket's hand at something. There's a smack to the throat. Ref doesn't see it. There's a pin. And we're not quite sure what it is until his lovely Maria, Dustin's. Don't want to get beaten up by Dustin. says it was a fan. And Dustin says, a fan right to the throat? That's great. It's lovely work. And by the way, Zero Wolf was injured last week, and at the hands of James Ellsworth and the LA Hustlers. I forgot who they were for a minute. And you've got Little Homie Lance. Doesn't work that for me at all. Little Homie Lance. And Tim Grime talking about it. Tim Grime's really upset because the same thing happened to Flex. Sent him to the hospital. That was about 6 months ago. He's still in the hospital, folks. He must be really, really badly injured. Okay, here's your main event. It's Mike Anthony, who I love, as you know, versus Marko Harris, who I also think is fabulous for the Internet Championship. It is great. They trade shots to begin with, and then Anthony catches Marko and gets a sort of suplex throw. There's a huge tope from Marko, which he really sticks. A sweet drop kick from Marko. They trade shots again. Anthony drives Marko into the buckles, but then runs into a boot and tastes a flying uppercut off the top for a 2.999 recurring. In fact, Marko gets a couple of those. Anthony then catches him with it and hits a German suplex, but Marko shows a suplex of his own. And then I love the way he's trying to get the cutter, is Marko, which of course is something that it's one of his finishers. And Mike Anthony just walks away. So he crashes and burns on that one. And then he hits one of his own. As Dustin says he doesn't often go up to the ropes or onto the ropes, and he sticks it beautifully, even though Marko kind of jumps into it for him a bit. But then straight from there he hits the brainbuster, or tries to hit the brainbuster, but it's countered by Marko to a suplex. This is great work. Eventually though, he throws him off the second rope single-handedly and then gets the pin. And Mike Anthony remains your Internet Champion. It was brilliant. They shake hands at the end. What a great way to end this rather odd but rather entertaining episode of Memphis Wrestling. I know it happened last Sunday. I know I'm late, but at least I got there this time. And I am so glad that I did. Ta-ta.